All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Bashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well, and honor and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word in sincerity and truth. All right, so I wanted to talk about a video that I seen this morning. I didn't watch the whole thing. I started watching it this morning and started jotting down the scriptures that I had. It was from this page here, this brother from South Carolina, Manata Zakba. Um, it was this video here. Bishop Nate lied about Jacob's trouble, then lied about it. Oh yeah, so basically, from what I've seen so far, he was just exposing um, the fact that Nate again, as has become the habit, it seems, put his foot in his mouth. Um, and as you know, as has become habit with us, we have to make mention of things that are against what the scriptures tell us. All right. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit. Um, Jacob's trouble in particular, um, and come at it this way, in that it's not something that is new to the nation of Israel when it comes to um, uh, when we get to a reckoning of sorts with who our power is, right? There's many examples in the scriptures of how um, there's many examples in the scriptures of how um, when we get back in good with the Heavenly Father, right? When we start realizing who we are and what our heritage is, what our culture is, um, there is a level of nuisance that we create, right? We annoy the people that are in power, and when that annoyance happens, or when that agitation happens, measures are taken to hinder that. Matter of fact, I didn't think of this, but let me give you a perfect example of that. I didn't write this down. I wish I did. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm bringing it out now. Actually, you should go to the fourth chapter. This is Ezra 4:1. It says, "Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Lord power of Israel, then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers and said unto them, Let us build with you, for we seek your power as ye do. And we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Hasharadan king of Assur, which brought us up hither. But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, Ye have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our power, but we ourselves together will build unto the Lord Yahweh of Israel. And King Cyrus, the king of Persia, hath commanded us. King Cyrus, the king of Persia, hath commanded us. And the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building, and hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even unto the reign of Darius, king of Persia. Right? So it's nothing new. There's a constant program of these types of things happening. Once we get back in good with the Lord, um, and it's not a nuisance of we're causing trouble and we're being troublemakers, but our devotion to the Heavenly Father causes a stir amongst the people, and it's no different from today. The same thing is going to happen today that has always happened, right? Which will bring us into the time of Jacob's trouble, right? So I want to read something. I'm gonna go here. It says Matthew 11, and I'll start at 12. It says, "And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force." Right. So this is speaking to when you think of the kingdom of heaven. This is another term, or a term is a fine enough word for the nation of Israel. Right. We are the kingdom of heaven. We are the blocks that will make up the kingdom of heaven. Right. So it says here that we suffer violence, right? So from the days of John the Baptist, as it says here, until now, right? Which and that time was now the time of this being written, but that can go even further out until now, meaning today in 2021. The nation of Israel has always suffered violence, right? And as our devotion to the Heavenly Father increases, so does the persecution, right? Because the whole world knows, right, when the nation of Israel is in good case with the Heavenly Father, that the rest of the world has to bow down to them. We have been the only ones that haven't known this. Edom knows, Elam knows, um, some of Ham knows, all these other nations, these heathen nations, they understand that when Israel is in good with the Father, that no one can touch them, right? So it would behoove them to have or cause some level of hindrance, right? Um, and to trouble them so that they can't be in good with the Father. As a matter of fact, let's go to Maccabees. And I read this in the last show, but I'm going to read it again. This is First Maccabees 1. I'll start at 30. You know what? I'll start at 28 here. If you know the story, this is when Antiochus went into Israel and started wreaking havoc, right? So this is First Maccabees 1 and 28. The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city, and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. This is the characteristics of Esau, by the way. He gets you to let your guard down, and then he fucks you up. He won't fight you mano a mano, right? While you expect and anticipate him to slap you in your face, right? He'll wait till, oh no, we good, bro, we good. And then as soon as you let your guard down, he starts to wear your ass out, right? It says, verse 31, it says, and when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire and pulled down the houses and the walls thereof on every side. But the women and children took they captive and possessed the cattle. Then builded they the city of David with a great strong wall and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them. And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein. They stored it also with armor and victuals. And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there, and so they became a sore snare. For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary to Israel. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary, and defiled it, insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness, her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. So this is A persecution of Israel is nothing new. Is nothing new. And us being on the highways and byways, no matter what camp you are, right? Whether you be GMS, whether you be IUIC, AOC, uh, IGGJC, or whatever they call themselves, right? No matter what camp you come from, right? This work that's being done, us being on the highways and byways, teaching so-called black people of their Israelite heritage, is a threat to them, and they can't continue with their enterprise unless the nation of Israel is subdued. And that is the narrative, no matter what part of history you go into, right? No matter where you are, when it came to matter of fact, let's go here. Um, this is Exodus 1:8. It says, "Now there rose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage and mortar." Just give me a second. I'm recording. It says, "And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage and mortar, and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field, in all service wherein they made them serve was with rigor." Right. So from the beginning of history, right, the beginning of our nation until now, this has always been the narrative, that the nations that are in power over us, and treat us horribly, man, with pain and anguish. And it's going to be no different in this time. Our this work that's being done, as I said, right? Our going out on the highways and byways and coming back to our heritage. You see us with garments on, with fringes and borders of blue. You see us calling ourselves by Hebrew names. You see us speaking the Hebrew to the best of our ability, right? All of these things are a threat to the powers that be, right? So there has to be a persecution of the children of Israel, because it has always happened. It has always happened, right? So let's go to the next example. All right, this is Esther. I was gonna start. Let me see where I want to start. I don't need to go all the way down there. Bear with me for a second. Actually, I might have to start up at the top. So it's a short chapter. It's only 15 verses. I'm not gonna read all of it, but I need to start at the top so you can get a little bit of the story here. So this is Esther 3:1. It says, "After these things, the king Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him." Right? "And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him, but Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence." Right? So here it is. Like, you have Mordecai, right? He was an Israelite, and he refused to bow to Haman, who, when you go into the history, these Agagites, they're Edomites, right? So you had King Ahasuerus, or Artaxerxes, promoting him up into the princes, right? And he got great reference, and everybody else was bowing to him. But Mordecai was like, yeah, man, if he don't get out of there with this nigga, you know, he didn't. He refused to bow to him, right? And that was really, especially in this time, the sentiment of all Israel, because we knew who we were, we knew what our heritage was, we knew what our culture was. So in all provinces, it had to have been like this, where we were practicing our own culture, we were practicing our own laws, no matter what province we were in, and it caused friction in these provinces. You have to extrapolate that. You have to believe that, right? It says, then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said to Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Now it came to pass when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew, right? So they was like, you think you tough, huh? Let me go over here to Haman and see, okay, let's see if it's gonna stand. Let's see if you keep that same energy, as they say, right? It says, and when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai, right? So he was like, man, I'm not just gonna fuck him up. I'm gonna deal with the whole nation, right? So here's what ensued, right? It says, in the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast pur, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day, and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month of Adar. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of the kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people, neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business to bring it to the king's treasuries, right? So you have to think about this, right? You had all of these Israelites, right? From as this story of Esther tells us, from India to Ethiopia, 127 provinces, right? You had all of these Israelites who more than likely had the same sentiment as Mordecai. No, we're Israelites. This is how we do things. We're not following these customs. We're not following the ways of the people. We're gonna do it our way, right? And you gotta put more life into it, right? They were in these provinces. They had jobs, right? They worked, right? They had neighbors, right, where they lived, right? So you just like your neighbors look at you crazy now because you do things a certain way. You might be playing your music, you might be barbecuing in the yard, right? And they got a disdain for you, right? And let's take it to today, right? Where though our people by and large don't know that they're Israelites, right? They have a certain way that they live, right? And all this time, people had to secretly hate us, right? But then when Trump gets in office, right, he gives a level of permission to cause trouble in our lives, right? So now you got police killings, you got people. You got. I just saw this video earlier today. This old white lady, spitting in this Jake lady's face, who was working for her, man. Spitting in her face, spitting a banana on her, throwing a banana at her, and all kind of shit, right? So Trump's sentiment, though he didn't say directly "go fuck them up," his sentiment um, caused for it to ramp up, right? And likewise, when this decree was put out, right, through all these provinces, you probably had people that was already sick of Jake making their lives a living hell, man. It's nothing new. It's nothing new, and the same thing is going to happen today. You think, right? Like what I've noticed over the last couple of years is that the debating on the highways and byways has ramped down. Really the last remaining hardcore person that was against us was this guy Vocab Malone, and even he took a seat, right? So that has ramped down a lot, right? We barely, when we go out on the highways and byways, see any opposition. But don't be fooled, because those people that walk by and they listen to what you say and they hear what you say, they hate you. As a matter of fact, the building, the apartment building that we teach across from, used to have an awning in the front of it, right? Across the length of the building. And when it rained or snowed or what have you, we would stand underneath it. A little bit further down from where we stand underneath now, because at the time there was a store in front of where we stand now. And now that that store is gone, we move back to our old spot. But to get back to the story, um, we would be standing underneath this awning teaching, and this old couple, this old white couple, Edomite couple, if you will, I should say, um, um, they will always talk shit. They were, I mean, like an old white couple. They were, especially the husband. He would always, talk his shit. We'd be like, "Hey, get out of here, man! Get out of here, man!" But he lived in that building, so every time he would walk by, he would go inside his building, and security would come out. Oh, you guys can't stand here, and we just, it's a public sidewalk. We can stand wherever we want to stand. And once they realized that they couldn't stop us from standing there, what did they do? They took that whole awning, the length of the building, off. So now there's no awning on the building. Right? So those types of people, right, that share that level of venom for us secretly, but really can't do anything. Once the word is given out, they're gonna torture us, man. They're gonna torture us. All right. Um. So let me see. How far did I want to read? I'm gonna keep going. Let me keep going. Verse 10, it says, "And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the Jews' enemy. And the king said unto Haman, The silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as seemeth good to thee. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants, and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people that their after their language, and the name of King Ahasuerus was it written and sealed with the king's ring. And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, and one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is in the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. Right? The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they should be ready against that day, right? So you think that they was like, okay, they said we can't touch them until the end of the year. No, they was talking shit. They probably was burning houses down, all kinds of shit, man, because they thought that's what the king wanted, and they thought that they would be in good case with the king. Same thing as now. Shit, fucking Trump might be aiming, man. Oh shit. It's lucky. All right, it says, the post went out, being hastened by the king's commandment, and the decree was given in Shushan, the palace. And the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Shushan was perplexed. Right. So this is what happened, man. This is what happened, all because of Haman's hate. But again, this is nothing new. This is nothing new. Matter of fact, let me go to this last example here. I thought I still had it pulled up, but it's right here. This is Acts 18. Start at 1. It says, After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth, and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy, and was Salakia, with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them. Right. So this was another time. As a matter of fact, I pulled up because not much is said on this instance here, so I pulled it up and came to this in Wikipedia. So you had this guy here, Suetonius, was writing about the Christians in this article here, or whatever this writing is, Divus Claudius 25. So when you go into it, it was just basically chronicling this whole thing was chronicling what some of the things that Claudius did in his reign, right? And lo and behold, here, which I'll go back and read it. I have it highlighted there, but it says the same thing here. This is where this statement here is what I have highlighted. So it says, really quick, a brief statement in Divus Claudius 25 mentions agitations by the Jews, which led Claudius, Roman emperor from AD 41 to 54, to expel them from Rome. Since, and here's the statement here from that article. It says, since the Jews constantly made disturbances at the instigation of Chrestus, which is the Greek way of I looked it up from here. It's basically Christ, right? It says the Emperor Claudius expelled them from Rome, right? So what are we doing? What is it? What is it that we're doing? We're in so many ways instigating because of our belief in the Lord Yahweh Shai, right? Talking shit to the powers that be, telling them that their power is going to be taken from them, telling them that America is going to be destroyed, right? So it's nothing new. Just like they were expelled from Rome, right? You think that was done nicely? Hey, we were thinking maybe you guys could just leave and go back and do whatever you do. Just get out of Rome. No, they did it with violence, man. Just like it says in Matthew's 11th chapter, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence until now. You see, it's the same pattern, right? So for Nate to be here's what I think about Nate and these type of comments that he makes. He's not as thorough as he once was with the scriptures, right? So there are some things that remain in him, but because he's no longer as thorough as he once was, some of those things leave him, and he constantly finds himself putting his foot in his mouth, man. And yeah, it's embarrassing, man. I mean, I don't know if he should be if he's not. You should be embarrassed, man. Be careful and more mindful of the things that you say, man, because you are responsible for all the minds of the people you sway by the things that you say, right? There is going to be a time of Jacob's trouble. We are going to be persecuted solely for the fact that we want to get back in good case with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and that comes with a cost, right? And that cost is our persecution. So let's go to this last one in closing. I want to go here. I want to go to excuse me, excuse me. Second Ezra 16. So Second Ezra 16, and I'm going to start at 69. It says, oh shit, Salakia. It says, start at 68. It says, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle, with things offered unto idols. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and reproach and trodden under foot. It says, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Right? And we know what insurrection is, right? Matter of fact, just let's make it easy on ourselves here. Now let's look it up. Right? It says, is the act of revolting against civil authority or an established government, right? So if there's an insurrection amongst the people, right, that fear the Lord, there's going to be a what's the word used? A revolting, right, against us. That's going to happen. This is what the time of Jacob's trouble is going to be. The time with like when it mentions the time of Jacob's trouble, when it mentions the hour of temptation, right? Fear none of these things that shall come upon you, for there should be something that cast you into prison. These are all the time of Jacob's trouble, right? When you read in Acts, from John all the way to Paul, There were from Peter. I meant to say from Peter all the way to Paul. You had they were being persecuted. The disciples and apostles were being persecuted for their belief in Yahweh Shai, man. They were being persecuted, and it's going to be no different today, right? It says they shall be like madmen, sparing none, right? And that goes for those of you who think that you can just say GMS and then it's going to be over for you. The idea that you are calling yourself an Israelite is a threat to this society, not how you teach it. They don't care about how much you Christianize it. Your Israelite mind is a threat to this world. They cannot fulfill their enterprise unless the children of Israel are subdued, and none is going to be spared, man. It says, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. That's what deliverance is, man. There has to be some level of trouble to be delivered from, man. Right? Going back to Exodus, there was a level of trouble that Pharaoh caused, and the more fervent we were in our escape, the more hell that they put on us, man. And it's gonna be no different today. All right, so that's it. That's all I had, man. Hopefully that was edifying. I want to give all praises, as always, to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Bashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honor and salutations to the elect. And with that, I say shalom.